Thank you so much, Amy, for joining us today on Wisdom Wednesdays. I would love to start by learning a little bit more about you, where you're currently at, and yeah, just if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Ashley. I love the idea of Wisdom Wednesdays. We can all use a little bit more wisdom. I'm Amy Moses, and I work for Escrow Tab. I'm currently the VP of Marketing and Communications there. It is a solution that is a productivity tool for title, settlement, and lenders.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. So first and foremost, I would love to ask you what drew you to be on Wisdom Wednesdays for the MBA's Impact Young Professionals community?
Sure. Well, I love the idea of Impact being a community for young mortgage professionals because I believe that it's important, just like Empower is for the women in the mortgage industry, to have Impact be a place where young mortgage professionals can connect, meet each other, trade stories, and really get some more leadership advice from the MBA.
Yeah, that's great. It's definitely a space that I want to create so that we can and myself as a young professional as well, we can really gain access to mentors or have kind of that space to network with each other and build those relationships because and I know that I've said it before in multiple different areas where that the mentor experience is really based on a foundation of relationships and building those connections and relationships. And so having a space like Impact is extremely important. And then also having a space too where we can do the like professional development skills and just creating kind of that network is extremely important. So I love that.
How long has Impact been around?
So Impact has been around for about 7 years. So it's definitely not a new networking group, but just recently, so in the past it was run combined with regular residential members and our commercial members. And it had great success through all of the years. And then just recently we decided to split it out residential and commercial. And so those are now separate. Jackie Salazar is over the commercial side still, and then I am now over the residential side. So it's just going to be a little bit more tailored to the type of industry issues that we're seeing on like the residential side for me, and making sure that that intentional content is relevant to what we do in our industry.
Yeah, fantastic. I know when I moved out here to the DC area, it was relatively new and it was great for me to go to an event and meet people who are other young mortgage professionals in the area, get engaged, right? In a time when you're new to a place that you move, it's great to meet other people and then like-minded people in the same industry. So that was a very valuable experience for me.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that. I know it's definitely something we're trying to do is getting on site a little bit more or in the areas where the young professionals are so that we can really network. We do different events at conferences, but I think it's really important to try and kind of meet the members where they are. I think that's one of MBA's big pushes too, is meet the members where they are in this industry, especially in this current market. So I would love to pivot a little bit over to the mentor side of things. Do you have a mentor or have you had a mentor in the industry that you would like to kind of explain how that went?
Sure. Yeah, I do have a mentor, Alexia Dixon DeCare. And I love the relationship I have with Alexia because not only do I have her as a mentee, but I also feel like she's a little bit of my mentor as well. And that's something that I've heard a lot, especially from women in the industry, as we've talked about mentorship and how important it is that it should really be a two-way street, that the mentor should feel like they're getting as much out of the relationship as the mentee. And that's definitely the case with Alexia. And I feel like it's so important for people to have either a mentor, mentee, or both. And when I first started my career back at GMAC Mortgage, they had an official mentorship program. And I was so excited. As a new young professional in the industry, very young, I signed up for it and was paired with someone who I thought was a genius, is a genius. And it was such a valuable experience for me to be able to have that access to somebody who was so smart, and not just in the ways of mortgage, but it with his other skill sets as well. And I know a lot of companies don't have that official mentorship program. And so that's why I encourage people to go out there and be brave enough and vulnerable enough to find your own mentor if you don't have one. And that's something that it sounds like Impact can definitely help people with as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love how you said that it's definitely a two-way street. I, as a young professional, previously kind of looking for mentors or not really knowing like where to go, sometimes we hesitate a little bit to make the ask,
Mhm.
because we don't want it to feel one-sided or say like, hey, I know you're super busy, or taking time out of your really busy schedule to help me. But like you said, ultimately, like there's a lot to learn on both sides. And I think mentors can get a ton out of having a mentee and what that looks like. And then even if you're a young professional, having a mentee as well, gaining that leadership skills. And I think you can really get a lot out of just the whole relationship that you're building.
Yeah, definitely. And the advice I would give to someone who's searching for a mentor is know what you want out of it, right? Don't just go to someone and ask, will you be my mentor? Like, what do you want to get from that relationship? What skills do you want to improve? What knowledge do you want to gain? And then you're more likely to either get the yes or the I can't, but I'll suggest this person, or I'll introduce you to my colleague, John, what have you, right? And so if you're really specific, you're more likely to find that mentor who can really help you and strengthen your game.
I love that. Yeah, that's very good piece of advice. Be very specific with what you want, and it'll really, I think, take you both a long ways in that relationship.
Yep.
That's great. So pivoting again just a little bit, I would love to kind of pick your brain on why, as young professionals, is it so important to get involved on the advocacy side of things? I know this is something that maybe mentors can help with too, but how important is it, and why is it so important for the advocacy side for young professionals to get involved?
The first thing, Ashley, that comes to my mind when you ask me that question is the more you know. Those, I think they're NBC public service
Yeah.
announcements, right? The more you know, and that's what advocacy is. So, I went to the now I'm saying NBC, the MBA advocacy conference for the first time this spring. I was blown away. It was such a valuable experience. And I think it's important for everyone to get involved in advocacy, but young professionals specifically, because it will make you a more well rounded person and a more well rounded employee, right? When you start learning about the issues that impact our industry and you work to become knowledgeable enough to speak about them and then advocate for them, it makes you a more valuable employee to your company. It makes you more valuable to the industry overall. And it makes you more well-rounded because you can converse with colleagues, with people you meet at a conference, even with your neighbors about the industry, right? We all know, being in the mortgage industry, people always ask us, oh, what about those rates these days, right? Or what's happening? And then you can knowledgeably talk about that, what's affecting the industry. And so I think it's important for a variety of ways to get involved, for, again, you professionally, personally, for your organization, and then to help the greater cause of the industry. And one of the great ways to do that is through all the avenues that the MBA offers.
That's great advice. I definitely think, because if you think about it, the young professionals today are going to be the future leaders of these organizations.
Yep.
And so we need to be knowledgeable about what's happening in the industry and what's happening on the legislative side of this industry, what's coming down from legislation or from the GSEs or from the CFPB, and making sure that we're aware of how we're advocating and why we're advocating that way. And I think our MBA's own advocacy resources are extremely helpful to gain that knowledge. Impact also will have different events at the National Advocacy Conference. And so definitely getting involved that way, I think, is really important. But yes, you make some great points there.
Yeah, and I would also encourage people to get involved in their state and local MBAs, Ashley. I'm a board member for the Maryland Mortgage Bankers and Brokers Association, and we have a legislative day. I know a lot of different, local and state MBAs have those legislative days and advocacy programs. And so that's another way to layer on, right? Getting involved in Impact, your local MBA, national MBA. There's so many different ways to get involved or get involved in all of them, because it's so interesting to learn what's affecting the industry on a national level and then what's affecting it in your state too, since state legislation varies so much.
Well, do you have any questions for me today before we wrap this up?
Oh, Ashley, that's a good one. I'd love to hear why you think that people should become involved with Impact. What's your pitch for that?
Yeah, so Impact for me, and I'm a young professional, so I'm extremely passionate about the young professionals of this industry. But
Mhm.
I have been very lucky with the mentors that I've had in my I've been in the industry for about 7 or 8 years or so, actually maybe a little bit longer than that now. So and I started from a processor, closer, disclosure desk. I worked my way all through operations. And then I was the assistant manager of operations and went over to the training space before I moved over to MBA. So I started all of that at a credit union. And I had some incredible mentors along the way that didn't even really know they were my mentors. They were just kind of happened to be there, and my bosses at the time, and somebody that I really bounced ideas off of, and she was my sounding board. And so just making those connections was impactful. And then coming over to MBA and really broadening my horizons on the entire mortgage industry as a whole. And my role with MBA is really I'm the associate director of membership and member engagement. And so it's my job to make those connections at conferences and make those connections over a virtual Zoom webinar or things like that, and really building those relationships. And so I saw with the years that I've been here, I've seen how important those relationships are.
Mhm.
And so I really, with Impact, wanted to create a space. And I know that I'm coming in, it's been around and it's been extremely successful, but branching off for residential, I really want to create that space so that my peers and young professionals in this industry have somewhere to go to be able to start building those connections and start building those relationships, and really getting involved somewhere that they can just kind of congregate a little bit and get involved with their peers. And because sometimes it is a little bit intimidating if you go to conferences and you don't know anybody, but you know your impact group. And so that's really what kind of the future I would love to make sure that they know that they have somewhere to go at a conference or somewhere to go virtually to reach out for help or assistance, or hey, I'm stuck on this, or I'm looking for a mentor. Do you have any ideas? Or watching the Wisdom Wednesdays like this and just getting inspired with multiple different avenues of how to get involved and why it's so important. So that's my main reason and pitch for trying to make people get involved in Impact.
I love it. Yeah. And it's so easy to feel that imposter syndrome when you're one of a few young people, going to an event or even at your company or in your department, right? And I know when I was young, so many people reached out to assist me. I came in to a mortgage company being a subject matter expert in training and development, instructional design, but I knew nothing about mortgage. And I had to rely on so many people within my department in the company to help teach me about mortgage. And that can be, scary at times to admit that you don't know what you don't know, right? But that's the only way to learn. And so to have a community of people there to help you is key. And that leads me to my final question here, which is, I think Impact is geared at, correct me if I'm wrong, people 35 and younger. So how can those older than 35 help out and contribute to impact as well?
That's a great question. If you are outside of that age range in the industry and you want to help out with impact, we welcome you wholeheartedly. This is not something that we're exclusionary on. We want all of the help we can get. And people that are been in the industry, you have a wealth of knowledge just from, and it doesn't even matter what part of the industry you're in. You can be part of a law group. You can be part of a title company. You can be operations, servicing, wholesale, warehouse. It doesn't matter where you are or where you sit or what your title is. You have a breadth of knowledge that you can share. And that's really what we're looking for, is somebody to offer to be that mentor to the group, or to come on to quarterly webinars. If there's something that you're really passionate about and you would love to kind of share that, we have webinars that I'm doing quarterly on specific things that are a little bit more formal, and I would love to have them sit down and we can talk through what that is. And you can join there. You can stand up at our conferences. Just so contact me if you have any desire to help out with impact. And yeah, I mean, we're looking for everybody we can to get involved. This is a team effort. Power in numbers is what we say over
I
at
love
MBA.
it. Power
Yeah,
in
so more.
numbers.
Yep, that's great. All right, Amy. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today. It was so much fun to getting to talk to you and getting to know you a little bit more. And I appreciate your time and all of the words of wisdom you gave us.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. Good luck with everything and hope to see everybody at an Impact event soon.